What's up, Trader's Edge? It's Mark Sebastian, your only option. And this is your look at the week ahead. This week ahead is going to also include Friday because Option Pit is dark. But we're going to look at what I'm looking for out of the S&P into the month of December. We're going to look at the Qs. We're going to look at bonds, Bitcoin, and I'm going to give you the 5 stocks I'm watching, and we'll close with the VIX. So with that, let's dig in. All right, so SPX closed just below 6,000. It did that on the back of some really poor earnings on Wednesday. Dell earnings were really bad. HPQ earnings really bad. And this really threw a damper on NVIDIA and Broadcom and a lot of the other big AI names because basically people aren't upgrading their computers for the AI revolution. Now that's still, most of the business is data centers anyway, so it's not that big of a deal, but it did throw a damper on markets. And we saw SPX, which had been really nicely stretched over the 21, move up a little bit and then move up most of the week and close the week a little bit down. Here's what I'm thinking. Early in December, I think we're going to see maybe a little bit more selling. But then into the second half of December, that's when we'll get that Santa Claus rally. I do think we will eclipse the all-time high that we saw on Friday or on Tuesday at some point. Maybe not next week, but at some point next week, maybe a little bit soft. Qs, the strength in the market is not coming from the triple Q. Triple Q looks soft. I think you continue to see that. The strength is coming from the diamonds, the Dow, and IWM. I'm looking for some continued strength out of industrials and small caps. That is going to be the story for the beginning of December, is how strong can the Dow Jones be for the month of December? When you look at a one-year chart, and you're saying, wow, look at the Dow, it's up almost 100 points. Well, let's compare the Dow to the SPY and to the Q. And you'll see why there's more room for the Dow to run. So the Dow's up 26% on the year. The Qs are up 29%, and the S&P's up 30%. So we could see the Qs kind of sit here or even pull back, and the Dow rally a little bit, and the S&P sit here as well. So, or the S&Ps rally a little bit on the back of the Dow because financials have been so strong. And in order for these things to continue to rally, though, it's going to rely on one thing: bond market. Bond market's has strengthened up. TLT back above 93, IEF back higher as well. That strength in the bond market is a really good sign for the overall market. If the overall market stays high, then the bond market's going to be in great shape. Now let's pivot to Bitcoin. IBIT. We did our first option trade in deep market crypto. It was a success. Pretty happy with that. Crypto looks a little overdone, maybe a little bit of a dead cat bounce here. Maybe we do touch 100,000, but I'm looking for us to at some point get back to this 21-day. I think IBIT will get to 50. I think you'll see Bitcoin threaten 90,000 sometime in early December, and then maybe into the back half, that's where we get that big push through 100,000. The one thing that could really mess with Bitcoin, my project for Thanksgiving weekend is reading the bond prospectus on MSTR. This is a really interesting stock. I want to kind of really dive in and figure out exactly how this thing operates. But something about MicroStrategy smells a little off to me, and I'm going to figure out what it is by reading their bond prospectus. Yes, that's what I do on the weekends, but I do it for you because I care. And now the VIX. VIX closed, at one point was below 13, below 14. I think it gets there on Friday, and I think you'll see the VIX probably into the low 13s. Maybe not next week, but by the middle of December, we're going to be talking about a 13 VIX, maybe even a 12. If we're not, then we're talking about a 20 VIX. It's not just going to be staying here at 14. So just be ready. All right, so what stocks am I watching? All right, I want to start with NVIDIA. It got dumped, managed to rally back to its 50-day. I think it's eventually going to make a run at this 100-day moving average. The earnings on Wednesday were really kind of ugly. It's had this nice pullback from earnings. Eventually, it's going to be a buy, but it's going to be somewhere between 125 and 120. I'm watching Amazon back above 200. Really nice bounce. A little harami on Wednesday, but I'm looking for this thing to go to 215. Next up on my list is going to be energy transfer. I know. Look at the strength in this thing. This has been one that we've been long in Delta Strike and have made. We've done 3 trades. We're profitable on all 3 of them, and we've done just phenomenally well. Energy transfer just looks like it is going straight up. It's been a absolute gauntlet of strength. So that's what I'm watching. AMD, trying to find the floor here. It is starting to look interesting here. It had a hanging man on Wednesday. I'm looking for it to bounce. And last but not least on the stocks I'm watching are the banks. They've been so strong. At some point, they're going to pull back. So here's just BAC, for example, Citigroup. At some point, these are going to pull back. When they do, I want to jump on it because I think the move lower is going to be quick. So that's what I'm watching. So there you have it, folks. There's my watch list for the weekend and what I'm looking for into December. I hope you had a wonderful Thanksgiving. I'm Mark Sebastian. I am your only option. Have a good one.